Hey everybody, it's Alex from Hannemann Ironworks here, and today this should be the final video of the pauldron series. This is, as you know, the top piece that goes on the top of the shoulder. Now, if you really wanted to, you could call this good, use it as a costume piece, but I do have more pieces to go with it. And if you want to see how these were made, go check out the first video for how they were all made. And go check out the second video, which is the most recent video, on how I sealed the gap here. Now I just used hot glue, and I used a torch, and I went over it. And after doing that, use a respirator. I always got one right here on standby, just in case. Didn't anticipate it being that bad. I had a respirator, so I threw it on, went to the garage. I was fine. Not sure if, I don't know. But definitely go check out the first two videos. I'll throw links down below, and I'll throw links up here if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, so now today is actually assembling everything. And it may not be just today, as it's already kind of late at night. And so I probably have, realistically, like half an hour. So I should get pretty far, but maybe not as far as I'd like. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get to connecting these pieces. Alright guys, so I'm going for a little bit of a different angle here, but so hopefully you don't see just me. I know that was an issue I ran into while editing the last video where my shoulder was like all up in the grill. It was harder to see, so I changed it around, got you guys set up a little bit differently and on the other side of the bench so it may look a little different, same place. But from cutting all these I ended up with scraps, and so I just have a little tiny piece like this. I'm sure it fits one of these pieces pretty well, you know, something like that. I don't know, that's probably the way it went on. But I have these like little scraps here, and what these will be perfect for is actually drilling in and making little, like little washers for the nails. So what you want to do is actually find yourself a couple of cool old nails, or new nails. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But I just have these old nails. These were, I think these belonged to my great-grandpa, and he just had boxes of them. So eventually I passed down to me, and I'm using these for armor and other various tacks. Now I'm sure a bunch of these are in the building outside the forge area. But I just have, like, I literally have boxes full of these. I use them for all kinds of things. And they just look kind of cool in the end. It's like a cross pattern. But that's what I put underneath and I actually tack over. But since I'm going to be mounting not just metal to metal, I'm going to be mounting to leather. And I'm going to want a little washer to go from, so say this was the armor up top and the leather's going on the bottom. But you want a washer here because that nail may actually just drive straight into the leather and you'll get ripping through and the leather coming out. So make yourself a little washer. It works a lot better. And something that you want to do first is actually find yourself a scrap of wood. Now I'm sure everyone has a little scrap of wood laying around. Otherwise go to your local Home Depot, ask them for scraps. They more than certainly should have something like this. And get yourself a drill. Now this is already the right size drill bit. And I know that because I had to do that when riveting back here, but just to prove my point, I drilled into the wood. If I take this nail, it fits in just perfectly. Like it slides in and out with not too much room. There's a little bit of wiggle room, but that's kind of the ideal size. I'm not sure what size drill bit it is. It's fairly small. You know, size of the nail, you can kind of compare it. And so you just make sure you know what it is, and then you want to take this, and you just want to, you're going to make, you don't have to do it this way, but the way I'm going to do it is making an octagon washer. And so the key, for me at least, is to just start by drilling a hole into the wood. So drill it with a little bit on the sides, and not every washer needs to be perfect, because, you know, every washer is going to be a little bit different because they're all handmade and not like made with a jig. So just hold it down real firm. If you want, you can clamp it together, but this usually works. You see, I got a hole through that metal. If I take this nail, it fits just about perfectly. And so you got that perfect hole cut out. Grab your pair of tin snips or something to cut metal with, and just cut yourself out a little square to start with. Oh, come on. And I guess if you have to, grab yourself a pair of pliers, rip it off, otherwise you can do it with your hands. But snap it off right there. So you can see I got myself a little square with a hole in the center. Now I'm going to take these tin snips and just knock off the corners real quick. And this is just to reduce actually hurting yourself with it. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just makes it a tiny bit safer. And obviously you should be wearing clothing underneath the pauldron. If not, I recommend wearing clothing underneath the pauldron. But yeah, so there it is, a little octagon. And I'm going to need at least, I'm probably going to do 2 rivets on each of these and do like little strips and individual strips. So I'm going to do 2, so that's 4 in total. And I have 4 total pieces, so that means I need 16 washers. Now also when I attach it to something, I will need more washers. But I'm going to start with 16 and go from there. So I'm going to throw you guys on a super time lapse, shooting through, making all these washers. And the way I'm going to do it is actually just drill in a line and just cut. Just cut them all out. You can do it however you want, individually, you know, whatever. But this is the way I'll be doing it. Alright guys, so here we go. We got 16 of them. Took me about 10 minutes. Now sped up, that should take like 2 minutes, something like that. A lot of busy work, you know, but it's necessary. So now I've made this mess. I should clean it up. Oh heck yeah. It's suction time. Guys, so it's important to clean up because, well, that stuff can leave like pretty nasty little tiny chips of metal, and you don't want those ending up in your hand. And trust me, it sucks. My plan was to go, you know, armor by armor, just section by section. And I guess this would technically work all the way through, but I'm going to do section by section, so I'm gonna need I think 8 more for each piece, because I'm going to have 2, 4, maybe 4 over here would look stupid. We'll go with the flow, you know. You get a piece of leather right here. Now this is a relatively thick-ish leather. It's not super thick. It's not super flimsy. It's sturdy enough where it's like right about the right thing for it. I don't know what ounce. This is just scrap I buy from a local just craft store. So we got like a Joanne Fabrics. I'm not sure if they carry any. Michaels. I mean, they're all over the place. Otherwise, you can order on Amazon. Go to Tandy Leather. If Jeff's watching this, which he almost always does, He may leave a link in the description for me to whatever that leather shop is. There's a really cool discounted leather shop online. It's all kinds of great leather. And if he drops it down, I'll pin his comment so you guys can go check that out. But there's all kinds of places to buy leather from. And it's a fairly flexible, thicker leather, and so that's why I'm using it. And so I find these are actually the best thing to cut leather with. It may not be orthodox, it may not be, what you guys are used to seeing, but that's what I'm going to do it with. I'm just going to eyeball it.
Alright, there's one strip, now another strip. Alright, there's 2 leather strips.
Alright, so now that I got myself 4 strips of leather, it's time to put this armor together and actually decide where I want the holes. And I am thinking these will be connected together, and then these 3 will all be connected together with a strip. So this one will end up with 4 rivets on each side, and these only have 2, 2, and 2. You can do it however you like. Just something I'm thinking of because I want this to be sticking out a little bit, but also connected with all of these 3 because these kind of fit closer together than this bigger one. Just kind of my ideas on it. Do it however you want. It's your pauldron that you're making, and you're not making my pauldron, so have fun with it, right? Alright, so now I have this kind of measured out where I want it to sit on my arm. I may drop it just ever so slightly.
And a mark. Center it up. Also over here.
Now I'll make sure this is actually uniform. I'm just making kind of where I think I want it, not necessarily exactly where I will want it. So I'm going to take something like a straight edge here. And just make sure they're in line with each other. And obviously they aren't exactly in line. Now they're fairly close, but not exactly. Make sure we got that symmetry going. Actually, I'd say the bottom ones are fairly lined up. It's just the top ones I need to change. Alright, now that I know exactly where I want these, I've measured them out and put the dots exactly where I want them. Now just kind of a rough guess. Just make sure they work,
Actually, gotta make a center mark. I don't have the center punch out here, but this will do it. Alright, the center punch out. It's marked. Alright, center all marked up. Time to drill them. 80 drill, the same size you put on the which would you bobbins? The washers, those things. Work are tough,
Got both those laid out. Put the drill away. Now it's time to rivet the leather. Time to rivet the leather in. Red leather, yellow leather, something like that, Get that workout, that vocal workout in. Actually, what I'm noticing is these edges are a little rough, so I'm gonna take a file and go over the top side. All right, now I'm gonna put the actually good side facing inwards. I'm not sure exactly how you're supposed to do it. I think it'll look better just because, it's a nice side of leather. Otherwise, I could do it the other way. But these shouldn't be showing, so putting the good side out. And I'm thinking I may just drill the leather. Otherwise, I could go find a punch or something. Otherwise, I could just nail into it. But let's see if the drill works. yeah, works just fine. I get the hole on both sides. Alright. Now it's time to actually cut off the head for these. So I'm going to have a chunk of leather, gotta knock everything over, chunk of leather, and one of these doodads. So it's going to exponentially increase the size. Actually, something I'm going to do is actually nail this through. Never mind. Take a pair of bolt cutters. Now I'm just guessing at where I want them. If I want different, cut another thing off, you know. Don't work the first time, try it a second time. Alright, got that. So I got this washer, got the nail, I got the cut off piece of the nail. Take this chunk of leather, and I want this nail head on the inside. You can do it however you want, but I'm preferring to have it on the inside. Stick it through, all the way through. Pop it through the top. Look at that, it fits just about perfectly, pokes up a little bit. Set this on the tuba. Oh, I need to get it taller. It's some way of like putting it, you know, down. Alright, like this will work. Now just take a ball peen and just kind of work on it. Actually, let's do this first. Oh yeah, let's use the anvil. You know, the hard surface that when you hit it doesn't just fall through. Otherwise, you can use a chunk of sheet metal or something, but this is decreasing into the board, which is definitely not the goal because I want to rebound and actually mushroom the head. Alright, there we go. Got one rivet in. Now make sure this is all semi-lined up. The second piece that's going in. Put this back over here. I didn't drill the second hole in the leather intentionally because I would have to line it up, which just sounds like more work than I need. Got that leather drilled out. Ouch. Just stuck a piece of metal in me from the bench. Not the goal. Washer, nail. Now what I'm doing to these is I'm actually setting the nail through because there is a taper off into the head. I'm throwing them inside the vise, and because you can see how there's a gap here, I'm throwing them inside the vise. I'm closing it pretty tight to the nail and just giving it a nice solid hit. You don't need to do this. You can do inside a piece of wood, but since I have a vise, it just works. And so you can see it's flush to the top now. bolt cutters. Stick it in. Put it right about where you think you want it. Now you can always change it. Give it a snip. Wrench it off. Open them. There we go. Now you may be saying to yourself, this looks a lot like a roofing nail, and it sure does. You can use roofing nails if you'd like. I'm just using what I have. And actually, I do have roofing nails, but I have to find them. Alright, then this one sticks a little proud, like a little too tall out. I think it'll work. Otherwise, if not, you can drill it out. But just give it a go, you know. I would say that's a fairly successful rivet. So 2 rivets in. It's kind of warm. It's kind of cool. And yeah. So now it's time to do the other side. I'll fast forward you guys to the process now that you've seen it. But you got this one strap of leather that'll come out and connect to this piece right here, and it'll all kind of work together. Alright guys, so I have successfully riveted on both sides. Got a leather strap hanging out. Now it's time to move on to doing this piece. So I marked it out just like I marked out the last one. I put the 2 holes right where I want them. I'm going to start with one side of the leather, or maybe I'm going to do, actually I'm going to do one of these and then the other one, and just like a crisscross, you know. And so the plan here is just to kind of get where I want. Now this leather can come on the inside. I can take my Sharpie, I can mark through, make sure I get that hole in the leather exactly where I want it, and then go on from there. And so just line it up. I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, but line it up with this leather strap, pop a hole in there. Now you have to take into account you want both of them to be right, and it's to be a little bit off center, so I'm okay with that. I'm gonna put a hole here, I think, because theoretically hole would go up there. That one didn't mark. Thank you very much. There we go. And just kind of see where it. What the heck? It didn't mark. It didn't mark again. I got this one lined up again. So mark in there. I can kind of see it. That's cool. So they're both fairly centered. Not perfect. Won't be unless you have a fatter strip and customize it, cut it as you want. But you can see I got the mark here, got a mark there. Fairly centered. It's centered on the pauldron, which is the idea. And it's far enough down where when I flex, it'll move. So just keep that in mind. So you just want to kind of put it where you think you want it and move it. You can see it moves just fine. And actually it'll be on the inside, so just kind of double check it. Ooh, yeah. So when I put it on the inside, I noticed, hey, that doesn't exactly work the way I anticipated it. And as it moves, it's actually different, so I have to slide it forward a bit more than what I had originally planned, because I checked it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to slide it down a tad bit. Get it kind of realistically, and let's just double check to see where it realistically would work the best. Yeah, like something like this would work just fine. Just see it moves. Yeah, something like that would work fine and dandy. So what I'm seeing is I need to move it down about 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. Probably shoot for the half. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to make this hole. I'm going to rivet this together. And I'm going to make the second hole, rivet it together, and do it like this. And so once I have this hole done, I'll come back to you guys and I'll do this hole and just kind of show you how it's going along. And then I'll do these holes off camera, and yeah, so you can see the progress as it comes along. And yeah, and I can continue watching what I was watching. So Thanks for bearing with me. I'm not sure you guys want to watch all of it, so I'm going to do it off camera because it does take a little while. Alright, I'll be back with you in just a second. Alright, so I got this first one riveted in, so it's moving just fine. Now it's time to get the other one set, and so it actually moves correctly, you know. And yeah, so it should look pretty cool. Now, the way, if you guys were curious how I was getting to it, even though the rivet's right underneath the armor, is if you bend this out of the way and you kind of take it and you set it over the 2x4, you can totally drill it out. And then for hammering this, I did the same exact thing. I kind of moved it out of the way and finagled it and hammered on top of it. But it's time to rivet into the other side. I just mark it right where I want it and go from there. So I'll be back with you in a second when the side's all done. Alright guys, so I actually put them all 4 in. Like I said, I did the top 2, and I went to the bottom 2, because I want the top 2 to keep it in place, and then just put the bottom 2 in, just for the extra support, so it doesn't wiggle around. As you can see, if I flip the armor, you got all 4 rivets. You can see on the back, you got all 8. And now the plan, I would ideally like to keep the strap going, but you can see how it gets wonky here, just because it goes from bigger to a smaller piece. I'm going to actually cut it and start new, so I'm going to do 2 more rivets in here, do 2 more rivets in here, just because I want to keep it in line, and if I do it like this, it's going to bend the leather, and I don't want that. You can see how it, when I want to put it back in line, this pops up a ridge and you really can't get rid of it. So I'm going to have to cut it, unfortunately, and then do the second piece. I think if you have these a lot closer in size, it'll be different, but now it's time to go on to the second piece, and this does fit me pretty well. If I put it on right here, you can see how it moves. Now the next piece will go on just below, and I may not even need the third piece, or I mean the fourth piece with this third piece put on, but if I do, I will need to make more, what's it called? These things. Made them earlier. What are they? Washers. Little circle washers. I may need to make more of them because I don't have enough, because I'll have to put 8 in here instead of the 4 I anticipated, because I can't math for some reason. But I'm gonna do the exact same process, and I'll be back with you when I have the third one installed and make a decision if I need the fourth one or not. So thanks for coming along, and I'll be back in just a second. Alright guys, so now I'm back. I got these all riveted up. I got all, 8 rivets in, 4 on each section, and it looks like this so far. Looks pretty cool. They all flex pretty well. I did have to adjust this piece right here, because when I put it on initially, it wanted to either stay shut like this or it wanted to like be out like that. And so I trimmed out the inside because you can't see it anyway, so it would actually properly fit. So that's an option. I had to break it all 3 pairs of tin snips to figure it out, but I managed to get it done. And you can see how it was scraping right here and here and here. It's just a little bit shinier. You can kind of see it because it was scraping off whatever the coating that's on here. But this is these 3. And you know, it moves just fine. This bigger one obviously has more freedom. It's got more leather connecting to it. Here's the underside. You can see how I riveted each piece individually. If I throw it on my shoulder, do it like that, you can see how it comes down to this elbow. And if I attach this fourth piece, sorry, I'm not sure necessarily what benefit it's going to add. If I can get it. Oh, come on. Like it may look cool, but problem is when I like move my elbow and try and like, this is where it cuts my limitation off. So I don't think I'm gonna add it. I think I'm only gonna stick with 4 pieces. I mean 3 pieces. Sorry, technically 4 with this, but stick with 3 pieces because I can move my arm in full rotation. It kind of stops me from going up That's kind of a limitation of a pauldron. Like I can move my hand up in the air. I can also kind of do this, but it doesn't work as well. And that's the goal, right? So I think it looks really cool. I'm gonna cut these leather straps off, and I'm gonna figure out like a leather strap to go all the way around. Now obviously I think there should be a buckle or something. I don't just have that on hand, and I'm not the best at leatherworking. Maybe I'll get the time to make a buckle. It's fairly straightforward. There's great videos online from if you go to Black Bear Forge. I think he's got a forge weld buckle. I don't think I need anything even that fancy. I can make even a little buckle out of this kind of crappy rod. And when I get the time, it's currently like dark o'clock outside and about time for me to go hit the hay for school tomorrow. But something like this, like a little baby buckle, wide enough to hook this in, because it's about the width I want, and I do have extra leather scrap, and I can even cut this right now. Cut it like that. Cut it like that. Now you don't have your leather straps hanging out, and the way to do this is to rivet it, like this in here, and you obviously want the good side facing out because that's what you're going to see, but do two pieces like this, rivet it on in here, and having a buckle on one side and holes on the other so you can buckle it together so it fits your arm just good. You can see an idea like that. Obviously, if I get the time this week to do it, I'll do it. Otherwise, I will cut to an outro scene because I've run out of time to really do anything this week because I got work and I got a big Skills USA meeting, and hopefully after the meeting I have time. It should be over relatively soonish, but we may go out for dinner. I don't know. See what my night looks like. And then I'm working the next 3 days, so I'm slammed, and I'll probably be tired, and I'll just pass out because I'm working doubles at the restaurant. So I know, yeah, I moved jobs, so that was fun. It really is. I do enjoy my new place. But yeah, so these three, and I'll cut the outro scene, or I'll see you making a buckle, or like the piece to go actually on, like across the shoulders and whatnot. So, cut to the next scene. Alright guys, so unfortunately I haven't had the time to actually make connectors for this. I've been slammed with work and school, and I went to a dance, like the school formal dance for homecoming, which was kind of cool. But I haven't had any time. I have had time that I could have changed from doing something, but I really haven't had the luxury of time this week. So this will be the last part in this series. If you want to know how to attach a pauldron, look up pauldrons on Etsy. Just look up like a leather pauldron, and you'll see great examples of how they're assembled. But in short, you can rivet a piece of leather into either back here or in here, string it through your armpit, and come back on the other side, just on the back here. And if you want to reduce movement, you tether off a piece right in the center. You come under your other armpit and go back to the other piece. And you can tie it here and put your arm into it. And then you want to rivet a piece of leather on the front here and also on the back, connecting underneath the arm to hold it in place while you move it, because otherwise this will just be happening the entire time. And if it's held in place, it shouldn't do that. So that's in short how you do it. You can do it with string, with leather, paracord, whatever suits your fancy. You can totally do it. Now when I do it properly, I think I'm actually going to make a gorget, which is like the neck protector, and it comes in like a V, and you actually tether it to the top of the pauldron instead of stringing off pieces. And I think I'm going to be making another pauldron so I have full shoulder armor. But yeah, so if I ever do that, I'll make sure to bring you guys along so you guys can see. And it obviously won't be in as depth because I can tell you guys to go back and look at these three. But that's kind of about it for this video, for the series. I will not be making another video on connecting it because you can do it however you want. And obviously go look up online leather pauldrons. Just copy what it looks like. It'll work just fine for you. So thank you guys for watching. Please drop a like, make sure to comment, and if you haven't already, definitely subscribe and share the videos. They really help the channel grow, and I really appreciate everyone that subscribes. So, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next one, and hopefully it should be blacksmithing, and see you later. Bye.